This is Outnumbered. I'm Andrea Tantaros, and here with us today, Harris Faulkner, Katie Pavlich, Fox and Friends first co-host, Ainsley Earhardt, and today's hashtag
Saturday morning, good for you.
I need my rest, you know what I mean?
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Yeah, welcome
Pleasure.
back.
Yeah, it was September, I think, when I was last year. Long time.
Yes, we have missed
A lot
you.
has happened, a lot to report on.
And a lot of big political news.
Ooh,
and you've done a really interesting interview, which you're going to talk about in just a minute.
It fits into the Hillary subject.
All right, well, let's get on that topic. A scandal that will not go away as Hillary Clinton continues her David, that she dragged her feet on answering when she knew the answer. Surprising?
Well, against her back then for obstruction of justice. They didn't actually serve her with it because
scandal at the same time outside of government business.
Right.
And she did.
The State Department using private email to evade frustrated with all of these things that come out and there being no accountability. We've been talking about Hillary Clinton as there's been no consequence at this point, and sitting around and talking about it.
Katie, she can be held accountable in 2016 because we the vote.
Weekend, the New York Times reported, and I assume this is through Clinton surrogates, that she's going to run for Obama's third term.
She didn't get back at all. She let the State Department get back for her 2 months after she was gone. So she was already out the door. And the only thing they got back with was the policy that they had. Lying began.
Well, yeah, and it's for me, it's not just simply about, you know, what.
And she said, I'm willing.
Inspectors General from the State Department and the National Archives may be investigating. They may go to the Attorney General. They may be denied and ask him for a subpoena to go into that server and see what emails are left.
All right, so that's more per speech than any of these Goldman people. Boink.
Like pop-up video.
Old news.
It's what she does.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it means to be independent.
Yeah.
Well,
And you haven't even declared
she still has a lot of pull with progressive speeches all the time.
300,000.
For Ralph Nader and Bernie Sanders now of a crony capitalist.
Well, yeah, and the cronyism sector not taking
Wouldn't have
200,000.
stopped
Me, when I heard her rail on the rich, is it sounded like Elizabeth Warren's talking points, right?
Okay.
They're singing off the same song sheet. I mean, that's Elizabeth Warren shtick, right? She goes after Wall Street. She goes after CEO pay. Did this indicate to you at all that maybe she's a little bit scared about a threat from the left?
That's a good point. Maybe she knows she has the big businesses that are already left voting in her back pocket. She's got to appeal to those far, far leftists that really want Elizabeth Warren to run. So yeah, that's a good point. You know, when I was doing this research too, I was reading about what Bill Clinton did to a lot of people are blaming him for the troubles in 2008. So it's interesting that she is saying she's not for capitalism and not for big Wall Street companies. Well, Bill signed the Commodity Futures Modernization Act, which exempt credit default swaps from regulation. In 1995, he loosened the housing rules by rewriting the Community Reinvestment Act, which means he put pressure on all those banks to lend to the low-income neighborhoods, which caused the collapse in 2008.
By the way, Andrew Cuomo was the head of HUD at the time.
That's right.
All right, Harris, you have kids. Do you agree with
This
the parents?
is just such a huge update to me.
Yeah.
Right? So now these parents, and I know that there are predators out there.
And now the parents are having to sign a safety plan. Do you think they're fine to be out playing by themselves?
Yes, I will town.
What?
All alone.
Where?
And
Where?
it's more expensive. It's ridiculous. And this idea that the government is coming in
At night and they had school the next day. Now, David, even a prisoner gets to make one phone call.
You know, I hope I don't.
That are committed against kids. Is this really on kids that really have parents who are abusing them? That's where they should be focused.
My mom, a former social worker, and so I'm very careful about what I'm about. System, even if only for a few hours. They have a lot to answer to for
But
why
thank
they
goodness
didn't call
nothing
those
happened
parents.
to them when they were on their own as well.
So Will,
Okay,
real quickly,
I was babysitting
I think
when
it's
I was
worse
10.
when they're
will
in
the
this
parents
custody.
win?
Yes.
Will they
I don't
win
know.
this
Let's
lawsuit?
watch and see. It'll be interesting.
They
But-
obviously, CPS did not handle this correctly. I think everyone would agree with that.
That I agree with.
Okay. Well, President Obama, Vice President, I should say, Vice President Joe Biden, no stranger to those awkward public moments, right? He's been in the headlines for head-scratching moves, like when
He's locker room. Ainsley, I just put my head in my hands and went.
I know. First of all, it's bizarre that that's the topic that he wants to put with that picture, because it's like a basketball team in college. They're not getting paid, first of all. But it's just awkward. Add this to the list. I mean, leave it to Joe Biden. I'm telling you, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just one more thing we can laugh at.
I was left with Joe Biden's hashtag.
Oh, he's not a big contender.
You think they delivered him to that locker room?
Somebody is setting him up for these things.
So.
How could his people agree for this to happen?
I see what you're saying. So, Katie, based on what universe does any man go, oh, yeah, the ladies' locker room?
Right.
Creepy people.
You know, hugging up on other people's wives, young women, just stop. You're
Right.
being weird and it's inappropriate.
Survived at all.
David, you brought up a really good point, because I mean, when I started at Fox 9 or 10 years ago, I remember tweeting some stuff.
Got to admit,
has-
though, he looks like he's a good time, right? Ladies locker room or not. I think he'd be fun to hang out with.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Seems a little hot
But not in a women's
By
locker
the way, the
room.
live chat
We
is
gotta
cooking.
go. Staying right here for Outnumbered Overtime on the web, foxnews.com/outnumbered. Click the OT tab. We're back on TV tomorrow at noon Eastern. Happening now. Starts now.